Energy weapons are a foundation of Fallout 4's and Fallout in general's art style and gameplay loop, as well as its balancing and sandbox. Energy weapons are just a core part of Fallout that can't be taken away. It isn't Fallout without lasers and plasma, otherwise you just have a pretty basic shooter. This is really what makes the game stand out, and that's why today we're checking out a handful of new energy weapons, as well as some other good mods that came out earlier this week. The weapons we have today are all vastly unique and very different from each other, and possibly very different from anything else you've seen on the Nexus. And some of the other mods we're checking out are just some other really cool releases that came out that I really wanted to cover. So we're going to go ahead and jump in right now with the first mod, known as the Mobius Zetan Needle Rifle by MarMobius. Now, I'm very used to the MarMobius mods being something to plug Fallout New Austin, but I believe this here Zetan rifle is also going to be a part of that. Oh, I actually thought it wasn't, but here it is. Right here, this is intended to appear in the game-size mod known as Fallout New Austin. So there you go. This will be a Zetan weapon featured in that DLC-size mod, but you can have it right now as a standalone weapon. Now, the Zetan Needle Rifle may look familiar to some of you if you ever happen to play a title known as Halo Reach. Halo Reach had a needle rifle based on the original Halo Needler, converted into a rifle format that shoots the entire needle at very, very high velocities. This here Zetan rifle is no different, and it actually has some mechanics that are very, very cool because they are inspired directly from Halo, and it's something I've always wanted to see in Fallout, and I didn't even think was possible until MarMobius had made it happen here with this mod. The needle rifle has a fun effect where if you shoot enough projectiles into the same enemy, they will explode, and the explosions are rather funny. When it gets to the combat footage in today's video, you'll see a handful of raiders just go flying into the air as they explode after a handful of these projectiles super combust into a nice big pink explosion. Overall, the design of this weapon is super cool. You know that I myself have tried to match the Halo and Fallout art style together before. Well, MarMobius has done an even better job in my opinion. This thing looks fantastic. It really does look like the Zetan art style of weapons, while still combining the overall profile and idea of the needle rifle from Halo. Honestly, this is a wonderful mesh of the two universes in a way that looks absolutely fantastic to me. This legitimately looks like something I could find on a Zetan enemy. Looks like something that matches sort of the stuff we saw in Mothership Zeta, so honestly, I like this thing quite a lot. Plus, it mirrors something from Halo, which is another one of my favorite franchises. One of my favorite parts of this is the actual projectile itself. The needles that come out do stick in the ground, and they have their own glow, which means you can light up a combat area with all kinds of purple little dots. After I was done testing this thing, I looked around my workshop and found that there was just glowing needles everywhere, glowing a nice bright purple, and I thought that was really funny. Interestingly enough, this weapon does make use of the railway rifle animation, so it pops open the top so you can throw in more needles. I think that's a perfect animation set for a weapon like this. If you want to get your hands on it, it is actually one of a kind, but you can also make more after the fact. If you want to get your hands on this thing, it is found on an overpass where there is a new crashed UFO, and just up the way you'll find a dead Zetan with this rifle and a handful of its ammo type. The specific overpass in question is going to be one located just south of the Revere satellite array. The overpass itself is an unmarked location, but if you can get up there, that's where you'll find the crashed UFO along with all of the ammo and the weapon itself. But of course, after that, you can craft this thing over at the chemistry station, as well as all of its ammo type if you need to get more of that, because it is only found in one singular spot. Unlike the vanilla alien blaster, this one does have a replenishable ammo with the ability to craft this thing over at the chemistry station. Overall, a really fun new weapon. MarMobius is doing awesome stuff, and I really like the design of this thing. It meshes those two art styles together so well, and honestly, there's a part of me that thinks it even matches a little bit of the Fallout 3 art style. The way the alien weapons looked in that game, and also just the general textures of this weapon, look like they belong in Fallout 3, which means it does a pretty good job of meshing with the classic art style. So I gotta say, I like this thing quite a lot. If you want to try this one out, or any of the mods in this video, they will all, of course, be linked in the description below. Now, the next mod that we're checking out is known as the M72 Gauss Rifle Attachment Pack by LX6R. This is going to take the original M72 Gauss Rifle mod and overhaul it with a ton of new attachments, giving it a complete facelift that makes it into a handful of different weapon variants that you couldn't make previously. While this isn't a standalone weapon itself, it does take one of the classics and makes it up to more modern standards in terms of the amount of content provided, which is really, really nice. It takes a weapon that was a really cool original design, but overall a little lackluster in terms of the attachments, and makes it into something that is super customizable and super cool for a lot of different character types now, including some fun black and red furniture that looks perfect for the Brotherhood of Steel, or a completely junky scrap set of furniture that looks perfect for any raider who wants a little bit more higher tech gear. Now, a weird thing I'm noticing about this list is that the Gauss rifle isn't technically an energy weapon. It does fire a ballistic projectile, And I'm realizing now that the same is kind of true for the Needler, but they definitely aren't your standard ballistic firearms that you'd find in a normal, gun. This is definitely a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more of the futuristic, fictional side of things, so I definitely think this does deserve to get lumped in with the energy weapons as well as the previous one. And to be fair, Fallout has kind of always classified Gauss weapons as energy weapons, whether or not they should be. That is how they are classified in Fallout, and so that's how they're going to stay in this here video. And besides, a big glowing blue beam every time you fire this weapon, I mean, it's basically an energy weapon, kinda. Don't worry about it. All weapons are energy weapons if you really think about it, kinetic energy. But that's a conversation for a different time. As far as the weapon is concerned here, nothing has changed in terms of the weapon itself from Eutherian's original mod. It's really just going to add a bunch of new attachments. So in terms of leveled lists and all that stuff, everything will be the same. This is just going to add some new attachments, and it's going to require the original mod, of course. All that being said, there actually is a brand new unique, however, known as Kellogg's Anger, which is a pretty fun one, which is going to have some pretty fun new stuff, including its own new unique attachments. It's going to have a cryo effect, allowing you to deal out some cryo damage with a Gauss weapon, which is pretty fun. It also has additional energy damage, and it is found over at Fort Hagen. Pretty cool unique, has a bunch of cool new effects, some fun tie-ins with the original game, as well as some unique attachments that are exclusive to this unique, and I like that quite a lot. Overall, a fun little add-on to an already really cool weapon that makes it even better, and who knows, maybe this is just enough to tip it over for some of you to want to add it to your leveled lists and into your game. Now, the next mod we have is a true energy weapon. We have the Plasma Jezail by TheProxyGod. This is going to be a pretty interesting look for an energy weapon, but one that I've seen around in different concept arts, and one that I've seen requested a lot, at least over in my Discord. This is going to combine the traditional sort of musket look, some really cool wood furniture, with the high-tech advancements of plasma energy weapons, including a bunch of fun little greeblies all over the weapon, and some really cool scopes and muzzle devices that make this thing really feel sci-fi. Certain attachment setups honestly remind me a lot of the blaster from The Mandalorian, if you're familiar with that. That thing looks pretty similar to this, or vice versa. I can definitely see that this could be inspired from that somewhat, but it's also unique enough that maybe that wasn't the case at all. Either way, I really love the design of this thing, and overall it makes for a fun new energy weapon. It does make use of vanilla combat rifle animations, but it's not too bad at all. It makes a lot of sense for the style of this weapon. It's a big rifle with a big plasma mag on the bottom. It makes quite a bit of sense. This thing's going to function mostly as sort of a sniper rifle. Certain configurations even only give you one shot per magazine, which is going to make this thing a lot of damage, but you're going to have to reload every time. Of course, you can modify that with attachments and get a pretty normal size mag, something that you can fire over and over and over again and not have to worry about it. As far as I know, there is no automatic version of this weapon, so once again, this is sort of leaning into that DMR sniper role, even though it is a plasma rifle. But it's a really fun and unique way to take on this weapon. There isn't really a dedicated plasma sniper in any of the Fallouts that I can think of. If you want to get your hands on this weapon, it is actually found on the level list, which is always a nice bonus. It can be found on Minutemen, which is very fitting, and it can also be found on Trappers, which is a pretty interesting addition, but it is going to require Far Harbor for that. Additionally, there is a single version of this weapon found in the Steeple of the Church of Jamaica Plain. That way you can go and find one for yourself without having to get lucky and find it on the leveled lists. Overall, a really fun new weapon. Pretty interesting. It does make use of a lot of vanilla parts in a new creative ways, but overall comes up with a new design that is very original and very, very cool. Now then, of course, we do have some other mods to be checking out that aren't just energy weapons. We have some other stuff that came out this week, starting off with the old Chembench Remesh by Selakii. This is going to add a remesh for both of the chemistry benches in the vanilla game to give them a bit more of a different style. Now, I have a lot of things to say about this mod, surprisingly, even though it is just a remesh, so let's go ahead and jump into that. For starters, I love the new design. There's actually a handful of chemistry bench remeshes that I've seen lately. There's even one that I use in my own personal game, and this one is honestly one of the better ones that I've seen. It's really cool. It does make use of all vanilla assets, but it makes a fun and new way to do the chemistry bench. This is perfect for an interior. It's all made of nice hard wood. It does both of the benches, so you have the L-shaped bench and the standard little tiny bench. They work perfectly with the animations, and they just look like a really nice, higher class interior chemistry bench. Whenever you start exploring in the world, you'll find chemistry benches sometimes, and they feel really out of place in a lot of places they're in. You're running around CIT and you find a chemistry bench, it doesn't fit there. But this does. This looks like something that you would see pre-war in a lot of higher-end establishments that are actually working with science. Whereas most of the chemistry benches in the base game look a little bit more post-apocalyptic, which is fair when you're making your own settlement. But when you're looking in pre-war stuff, you'd expect to see something like this in a lot of these places. Not everyone, but a lot of them. I also really like the design of this thing, being that the L-shaped and the regular Chembench in this mod actually match up next to each other, so you can make an entire array of chemistry benches. You can have a whole square around your room lining them up, or you can at least just attach 2 of them to make a really big chemistry station. Depending on how big you want your lab to be, these things can attach together in really fun and modular ways, so you can have a bunch of these things seeming to be one huge workstation, and I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if that was the intention from Selakii, but it was something I was able to come up with, and I think that that is a pretty fun way to use these guys. Now, personally, I would really love to see this thing as sort of a standalone. Either as a standalone workshop item separate from the chemistry benches, because again, I have my own chemistry bench remesh that I really, really like that fits my general headcanon for this thing, but I also really like this. I want both, and that's kind of hard. The other thing I would love to see, and this is going to be a lot more difficult, is I would love to see that some of the chemistry benches around the world are replaced with these in places that make sense, again, like CIT or college campuses or polymer labs. But other places, like outdoor settlement setups, will have the original junkie mesh, and maybe even a couple of other meshes thrown in there. But I don't know that that's really possible from just a remesh. I think that would require a lot of world editing, and it's possible, but it would be a lot of work, and it would be tempting to break the pre-combines, which is always not something you want to do. Either way, that's just my dream for the chemistry benches in Fallout 4. This is definitely a wonderful mod, though. If this fits your sort of aesthetic more, and you'd only plan to really be using this for settlement building, then this is definitely a great mod to pick up. It weighs pretty much nothing in terms of how many megabytes it is, because it uses all vanilla assets, so it's practically a free download. But finally, that is going to take us to our last mod, which is the X-Men Origins Sabertooth Vietnam War outfit by Section. Section has been doing a ton of ports from different games, and this outfit is one that actually fits pretty well in Fallout 4. It's a Vietnam-era sort of military outfit, but it's a little bit more of a relaxed one. The outfit features a sweaty t-shirt, some nice cargo pants, a whole bunch of pouches on a very lightweight rig, as well as some hanging dog tags. Perfect for somebody who looks like they're having a military past, but trying to survive in the apocalypse, in my opinion. I can genuinely say I think this fits very well with somebody trying to play a character who is very accurate to Nate from the vanilla game. So if you're trying to really lean into that side of the story and roleplay that a bit, I think this outfit is actually a pretty good hero outfit for that. Now, it does work with the standard vanilla body, but it does also come with the mask for Wolverine, which is a bit weird and out of place to me, but I mean, it is there if you want it. But as with most of these things that get ported with masks, I'm going to just stick with my character's face and use this as an outfit. It is, of course, craftable over at the chemistry station. It is not added to the level list. It's a one-of-a-kind outfit, so you're just going to be able to craft it. But it is also upgradable at the armor bench, so that is kind of nice. It's a pretty simple outfit. It doesn't have a ton going for it beyond that. It is basically what you see is what you get. No real bells and whistles or anything like that, but it is a nice one. So if you like this style of outfit, again, pretty lightweight download, and it's basically another free thing. It's going to cost you 1 spot in your load order, but it's a pretty nice outfit. It's pretty small, and if it's something you want, it's an easy thing to get. Overall, just a nice little lore-friendly mashup. So once again, if you like this mod or you want to try out any of the other mods featured in this video, of course, they will all be linked again in the description below. While you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, consider dropping the video a like. It really helps out the channel and lets me know what kind of videos you guys like to see. Additionally, if you'd like to, you can support me on Patreon. If you like the videos I make here on YouTube or the mods I make on the Nexus, either way, it is a great way to support me directly. But, of course, that is completely optional. Only there for people who really want to do that. By no means should you feel like you need to. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!